Came off of bodybuilding. Women bodybuilders didn't want to do the bodybuilding, get that big muscularity or that big muscular look anymore, so they wanted a sport for them. So a lot of the initial posing came from bodybuilding. That's why that face front is no different than bodybuilding or facing the rear. So with the bodybuilding, we start off with the mandatories and narrow quarter turns. Again, we are looking for that diamond shape. Broad across the top, narrow taper. And the difference is with the bodybuilding, we're trying to accentuate the musculature. Make it look like it is pushing out from all angles. So the guys will sit on their legs a little bit more, pushing their quads out. Same with the ladies, sorry. I look more for an anterior pelvic tilt to flatten out or hollow out the stomach. We'll talk about that when we get to posing, because a lot of people try to suck in their gut when they're up there. When you are lean and when you are dry, sucking in your gut pulls your ribs out. I don't want to look at a ribby person up there. I want to see your abs. The anterior pelvic tilt shows your abs. Sucking in your gut shows your ribs. If I see ribs, then I'm moving on, because that's not musculature. So then, after that, they have a quarter turn, and what the bodybuilders are doing is kind of like the figure. They're accentuating from their calf, their quad and hamstring development, glute, taper in the abdomen, definition in the arm and shoulder, and thickness of the chest. A lot of people try to cheat it, turn it, or whatever. Wherever the judges are, that's who you're posing to. If you are on this side of the stage and all the judges are over there, same with figure, I'm cheating it a little so you can see my side. Same with figure. Then they'll do another quarter turn, which now is the facing the rear, just like the figure. Looking for the broad back, nice and flat, want to see the details in the muscles. Want to see the definition in the calves, the hamstrings, the sweep in the quadriceps, broad shoulders. That next quarter turn will be a mirror image of the first one, and then they'll be called to face the front. Questions on the quarter turns and bodybuilding. Now the look of bodybuilding, obviously, a lot fuller muscle definition, more mass. Not necessarily looking for the biggest person. A lot of people get confused and think we're looking for big. Especially if you see natural competitions, the winners aren't big. They have fuller muscle, they don't have to be big. Full muscular definition, they are lean, they are tight, the water is pulled out of them so they can have that ripped look, and they're symmetrical. Like figure, symmetrical. When I say symmetrical, top to bottom, you have the same amount of muscle up here as you do down here. I don't want to see awesome upper body and a lower body that looks like you wore sweats all your life. When you turn to the rear, I want to see nice muscular back, nice muscular hamstrings, calves. I don't want to see little sticks, and I don't want to see flat. And if you have good glutes, that sure as heck helps as well. But I want to see not only symmetry from top to bottom, front to back, now left to right. A lot of times you'll see people pose, and you'll see one shoulder dip way down, and one look up, and that's when I get my bionic eye out, or call a friend of mine who has his bionic eye, and he says, oh, so you hurt your shoulder when you were 6 when you stubbed your toe and fell off your bike, and you're like, how does that affect my shoulder? Trust me, it does. I don't know why. I haven't figured that part out yet. But a lot of times you have adhesions and things in your shoulders, your scapula, your lats, your back, that you don't address, but pictures don't lie. You'll say, gosh, I thought I was really lean, looked really good. Look at the picture, and all of a sudden, this lat is out here and this one's flat. Well, I never noticed that. Or your shoulders, which are supposed to go here, goes like this. I never noticed that before. So a lot of times you have to do some different kind of work to make sure that symmetry happens. And it's beyond the weight room. Some people just try to work out one side more. Doesn't work like that. If you have an injury, scar tissue, it needs to get removed so you get that symmetry. Because symmetry is also where first and fifth place can happen.
When you're doing your homework, getting ready for a contest, you need to know what your weak points are. And make sure you try your best not to show us your weak points. We'll probably see it, but if you do a little bit of homework to try to disguise it, and it makes it look a little bit better on stage, that's going to be your benefit.
Great. Now, so besides Teresa, and I know all of you, but anybody thinking about bodybuilding? No? Okay. So, T. Teresa? No, I know. You have all these pictures, and you have all these, and don't worry, you will get posed today. Just like the bikini will get posed today. So, we're not going to go through these. Are you offended? You're not offended? Good. All right, so we're going to skip the bodybuilding posing and go right into judging. Now, Sly and I are both head judges and on judging panels. We've done both sides of it. Obviously, we've competed as well. We understand.
I'm Simon.
You are Simon? Okay. I don't need any comments from the peanut gallery. Who you think I am? So, anyway, judging is hard. Until you sit in those seats that we sit in, looking at 5 to 20 people, it is not an easy thing. And there is nothing more challenging, I'll say challenging, frustrating, than to have competitors come up to you at the end of the show trying to yell at you about why they didn't place higher. You were not sitting in our seats looking up at you and the 10, 15, 20 other people to see what you did wrong. So when you come to get feedback about how you placed, come with an open, humble mind, because obviously more than one judge saw something that got you to where you are. Now, yes, well, we talked about scores, and I'll talk about scores. Let me talk about them now. You're going to have 5, 7, 9 judges scoring you depending on the size of your show. A 1, first place, down to 10, 10th place. What's going to happen is it's an accumulation of all those scores leading to your final score. The lowest score on the grid is how you place. So if there are 5 judges and you get a first from all 5, then you scored a 5. A lot of times, it'll be a 1, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 1. That happens, or many different combinations like that to get a total score. So what you have to realize is some people saw things that other judges didn't. It's a hard sport. This is not who ran the fastest, who lifted the most, who swam the fastest, who put the little ball in the little hole the most times. This is 5, 7, 9 people's opinions about your body. This is very hard to deal with mentally. So you have to be okay with getting criticized, because that's really what it comes down to. You are being criticized. And that's kind of hard when you spent 12 weeks, 16 weeks, a year to work on your body, not eat your favorite brownie, not go out with your friends, tell your spouse that you are only eating a salad and a dried chicken breast because your idiot trainer told you that's all you could eat, and you cried through those times through everybody's birthday party to stand on a stage and hear you came in 8th. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I get it. So, these judges have a hard job trying to pick who comes in where. How I do it, and this is, I do a quick scan, I write my numbers down of what I think. If it's a big group, it's a whole lot harder. I look for the weak ones first. It's easier to knock out the weak ones. Just like, a tiger on the hunt or a lion on the hunt, look for that weak zebra. So I look for the weak ones first, and kind of, all right, make my notes about what I think there, and then I focus in on who I think my top 5 are. Then I look at their symmetry. Okay, how's their top to bottom? Make my notes. How's their front to back? Because like I said, from here down, loses a show when you turn around. Then I make my notes. Then I look at your presentation. Is your head down? Is your posture bad? Or are you upright and you showing me that you own this stage and you did your homework? That, in my opinion, gets a little more. Purely because I think the presentation of your body is the hardest. Getting your body symmetrical is probably the second hardest. Most people exercise, diet, you can get it there. Some people are naturally thin. If you are naturally thin and you can't pose versus someone who might be a little bit softer and not look great, but they pose awesome, or they're out there and they're working it hard, that person had to do more homework than you. I've seen people look down, front double bicep, everyone's putting it up, and the skinny person who likes doing 5 days a week of kickboxing was and they've placed higher than the heavier person who is drawn out, their legs out, they're accentuating everything correctly, and that person had to work hard and didn't get scored as well. To me, that is an injustice to that person who did homework. I reward homework. Okay, I'll let another judge speak.
All right, I do the same thing. I look for the weaker, but I still keep an eye on them. A lot of times, folks will, when we bring out a top 5, and say we got 10 people on stage, we bring out a top 5, and we put the other 5 behind them. The 5 behind get a little dejected and figure, oh, okay, that's the top 5. I'm out of this. You're not out of this. But I see some people through their body language let me know that they are out of it, and you just took yourself out. There are other times when I have the top 5 in there, and I'm still looking at the people in the back and saying, wow, she looks good, or he looks good. Let me bring that guy in, let me bring that one off. Sometimes you can move up. I've placed in shows like that where I wasn't even looked the first time, but I ended up in the top 5. So don't quit. You did all this homework, 12, 16, a year, whatever you did to prepare, but just keep in mind that you did all that homework. Don't throw it away up on stage. Represent on stage, and then let us do the decision making.
So, during that whole judging process, and unfortunately I put the bodybuilding in this part, so you can ignore that. During this judging process, after we've assessed you, looked at you, saw what we thought, wrote our notes down, a lot of times some organizations allow you to speak to the judges after. I know it's a long day, long evening, whatnot. If you are not happy with where you place, go in and talking to those friends, family, and your trainer, worst person to probably talk to, unless you're me, your trainer, they're going to give you the, oh, you were awesome, you should have won, blah, 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 judges are idiots. Yeah, okay, go talk to the judges. If you want real feedback, go talk to the judges. And they will tell you. If you are totally content with where you are, and you don't think you can learn anything, okay, go. Go to the bar, get your nachos, get your beer, have your stomach explode, throw up because you're only going to get about 5 bites of those nachos in you because you've deprived yourself so long. You're going to drink something alcoholic, it's going to make you dizzy and not feel good anyway. And you could have stayed around and got some feedback and learned how you could place better in the next show.
And don't think just because you won the whole show that day that you got it licked, because you don't have it licked. No one ever has it licked. You always have something to learn. It happens too many times where people come to me 2 weeks after the show and say, hey, Sly, how did I do? I said, did you come and talk to the judges? Well, you just lost the lesson. So a lot of times your family members or your trainer will say, wow, you got robbed. And you get so pissed off, you just run on out and do the nacho thing and all like that. And then you think about it and say, man, I should have stopped. It's too late. And we brief that. I know when we, with SMDF, I would always brief that. And it would happen every time. If somebody gets pissed off at how they place, They leave and they lose that lesson. So guess what? You're going to repeat the same things, the same mistakes for the next show until you get that advice. So don't lose that lesson.
Is there any rhyme or reason when the placings, before the placings happen, as far as just moving the people around on the stage, middle, side, whatever, or is it just that show's prerogative?
Now,
Some shows
yes.
like to place the winners in the middle, and then it's very obvious, move the people on the side.
That's not always the case. A lot of
Right.
times when we're moving folks, we're just moving like bodies, putting like bodies next to each other, and that's all that is. It doesn't necessarily mean the guy in the middle, or person in the lady in the middle is going to be the number one person. It's not always
That's
the
right
case.
ahead.
It's
No.
not always the case.
Because there was a head judge in the, I believe, October or November, no, it must have been October SMBF show. What he did was he moved people from this side of the stage to that side of the stage so those judges could see better. And he took people out of the center and moved them to the side so the side people could see them better. I like that. I want every judge to have the same advantage of seeing everybody the same. So like I was saying, if you're on the side, you have to cheat a little bit. This way, he makes sure you get right in front of each judge. And some organizations do put the top person in the center. I don't agree with that as a judge because it does play with everybody else's head. But if you're a real competitor, you won't let it play with your head. Because when I actually won my pro card, there were 15 people in my class. They put me all the way. I was on the farthest right of the stage. And I don't know. Anyway, I was on the farthest right of the stage. And I never looked at anybody else backstage, so I didn't know how anybody looked. So I just assumed, ooh, something must be wrong with me. So I'm even posing harder, and I am turned so the judges see me. And at the end, when I won, and I won the overall, I got my feedback. They're like, we were keeping you out of the way. We already knew you won. We didn't need to look at you. We needed to figure out everybody else. I was like, oh. But that was a great lesson because it doesn't matter. You don't know. And I didn't quit because I wanted them to look at me again. Well, hey, over here. Look, I didn't start doing this. Look at me. And another lesson I learned that Sly wanted me to share, and some of you might have heard the story, my second show ever, I made it to what SMBF used to call nationals. And so I'm up there with 20 people. And this is where preparation comes into play. My trainer showed up late. He got there 8:45. My class goes on at 9 o'clock. My color isn't on, I'm nervous, I didn't eat enough, the whole 9 yards. So he's trying to shovel food in me backstage as he's putting my dream tan on. And then some head judge calls us all out there, men's middle, we're taking up the whole stage. So I come out with the first group, hosing my booty off. I'm like, oh good, I get to go to the back of the group and chill. No. You get to stay, and he brings the other group up and puts the other group back. So I have to pose again. Then he pulls the whole group out, and we pose again. And then they move people around, and I'm posing again. So we probably easily had to be like 20 minutes. When you're dealing with that many people, it could be out there 20 minutes or so. So the head judge, I'll just call him Sly, says, okay, rest. And relaxed pose for bodybuilding is this. So he's like, okay, everybody relax. Herb did this. Herb was wiped out. Herb didn't have enough food. Herb's ready to die. And then I hear, okay guys, because I'm assuming the head judge had a heart at this point, and said, really relax. So then Herb went down here on the stage and just laid. And that's when Mr. Steve Seegers and everybody else pulled me off the stage to try to replenish me and rehydrate me and hope that I could stand again. That is called not prepared. It's called crappy trainer. I learned a lot from that trainer. I learned so much from him. And this is why we are starting this stuff now. You can never pose and practice too much. I say 30 minutes a day. That is a workout. If you pose 30 minutes a day, and it doesn't have to be holding the same position for 30 minutes. I'm talking maybe 30 seconds one position, 30 seconds another, 30 seconds per. And then just keep doing it over again. Your walk, do that as much as you can. Your bikini or figure, get in those heels often. Your bodybuilding, you have mandatory poses. Hit them all. 30 minutes. Then build up to a minute a pose, a minute and a half, 2 minutes a pose per pose. I know you're supposed to only give it 3 seconds, but November show, there were a whole lot of women who had no idea that they would ever stand on a stage in the rear position for easily 7 to 10 minutes. They stayed in one position. And when they turned around, I loved the fake smiles because lips were quivering. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen because they quivered, because their nerves, their muscles, everything was shot because they never stood up there so long. And you're in heels. That is hard on the body. So you will never, ever, ever know how long you'll have to be up there. So if you don't prepare now, you will be on the, okay, really relax, laying there on the ground, and not finishing the contest.
Nothing, if you don't train, you'll think that you're standing a certain way. This is more probably for the bodybuilders than for the figure, but you'll think that you're standing a certain way and representing a certain way. You'll think that, but because you're so fatigued, your body's falling off, and now you're losing the competition because I see you falling off. So keep that in mind as well. Training, big time. That's a workout on stage.
And the last bit of advice before I send you off to change, when you practice posing, these mirrors and group fitness room mirrors are awesome because you see your whole body. And that's fine, do it every now and then. At home, take a long mirror, take it off of the wall, put it sideways, and lay it at an angle against the wall. Because judges sit below you about 4 to 6 feet when you're on a stage. You are posing down to them. If you practice posing on a flat surface all the time, we won't see your best you. You put the mirror on the ground, long mirror, put it on the ground at an angle, practice posing to that because that's how we are. We are looking up to you. Make sense?
And also, that's very good advice, but also, don't be dependent on the mirror, because we are not mirrors. The judges are not mirrors. Sometimes you get lost if you pose in front of a mirror only, and then you get in front of us, and all of a sudden, you don't know, you're waiting for the mirror to tell you adjust this, and we're not going to tell you adjust that. So keep that in mind, too. It's good to have somebody around that can, husband, boyfriend, son, daughter, or somebody that can watch you and make sure you let them know what you're supposed to be looking like. And they can adjust you. It's also good to have somebody in the crowd. That happens a lot. Somebody will be out there in the crowd saying, move your shoulder up, or this, or whatever. So, one last thing, he was talking about backstage. I've seen it, in competitions, I've seen this, and you'll probably see it too. Now that I'm telling you this, you'll notice this. You're sitting over there, you're doing your warm-ups, and you see a lot of people doing this. They're looking at, this is my class. I don't stand a chance. You just lost the show already. We want to see that confidence. When you exude that confidence up on stage, you do a whole lot better. I did a show, I was big time confident. I used to have fun on stage. And you guys should, this is the end of a journey. You guys should have fun on stage, not be all frightened and stuff. I had so much fun, the judges told me, we didn't even see the guy to your left because you were just having such a good time. You were focusing on you the whole time. So.
Yeah, he used to call me Smiley. Okay, Smiley. I had a blast up there.
That's what it should be. That's what it should be. It should be fun, not a show. So, any questions? That's a smart house.